Hey guys, it's Rija. Welcome to Mustang Studios. Before we introduce who everybody else is, today's episode is about TV shows and movies. So there might be some spoilers ahead, just to give you guys a warning. I know in our first episode we were all like, "This is a very spoiler-free podcast."
That was a lie. That was a gigantic lie.
And I remember we can like talk about this in our last episode. We can be like, oh, remember the time when we said this? Remember the time when we said that? Yeah. But anyways, who do we have here today?
Hi, it's me. It's I. Pagba.
And it's Bhavika.
It's Sadia. Oh, hi. Hi, I'm Harshita.
So, I wanna start off with something, my friends. So we got some messages from the Dropbox, I think from like last time or so, and we got a message that says to talk about the dress code. And I was thinking, we've seen some pretty weird things come out of the whole dress code situation. I think especially in our freshman year. It's really weird with this thing because like for some reason there's like this really like strange double standard that they have with dress code. Not even like, oh, guys can shoulder shoulders and then girls can't. It's more like there are certain things that you can wear, but at the same time you can't wear them in a way. Like we were talking about this before, but like before we started recording, but like I saw this one girl in my freshman year where she wore just full on tube top, nothing underneath, and then she didn't get dress coded. But then there was another girl who just wore like a tank top that day, kind of a crop top tank top kind of thing, and then she was sent to the office. And I'm like, wait, how does that work? If a girl is showing up in literally just a tube top and nothing underneath, and then the girl wearing the, something that looks like it was a really cute, shirt. I'll give her that. But then for some reason she's the one being, thrown into the office. It was really weird. It doesn't make sense.
I feel like with the dress code, I think it shouldn't be as much about, oh, you shouldn't show shoulders or you should wear these specific things. Because our schools, at least in majority of our schools in the US, we don't really have a formal uniform, right? So with that, obviously there are some things that you shouldn't wear, and everyone kind of knows what those things are. Those are kind of just, you know what you really shouldn't be wearing to school, right? But outside of that, I feel like there shouldn't be that many as strict dress code rules, right? Because outside of the inherently like, oh, generally, you don't want to wear pants that are sagging really low, right? That's just like in general. Is it appropriate or not, right? So I feel like people shouldn't be held to a double standard. And if someone's comfortable wearing a tank top, a tube top, as long as it's, not super inappropriate, I personally think that's fine. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, they should also have the right intention as well.
Mm-hmm.
About what they want to wear. I feel like just for like wearing clothes in general, one should like think to themselves, like they should look at the mirror and be like, yes, I feel comfortable wearing this. Yes, I love what I'm wearing at this moment. And then if they think that way, if they have that great intention, then I would say, yeah,
Go for it.
That's fine.
Be your own hype man in the morning. You look in the mirror and be like, yes, I look comfortable.
Embrace your own self-confidence. But also what I've noticed with the dress code is like certain girls that get dress coded more often than it's usually girls that are like, I don't know how to say this, but it's more of like, you know when you like put like two people in the same outfit, one gets away from the dress code and the other is gets sent to the office. Yeah, that happened to one of my friends because it was like twin day in like this school, and they both wore the exact same outfit. Because it was just a tank top and jeans. The other girl got sent to the office while the other one got away scot-free. And I do think about this a lot. Same thing with like the double standard thing.
So, I don't know, that's also really weird. Because in a way it is a double standard, but at the same time it's not. So, I don't know. I thought it was a really like interesting first topic we can think about. But on to the actual topic, my friends. We talk about TV shows and movies.
Yeah, so basically, I really want to watch these two certain shows. They're called Arcane, and the other one is called All of Us Are Dead. Both of those shows I want to watch.
Watch Arcane. Okay, a tip to our viewers, if you know nothing about League of Legends, you're perfectly fine. I know nothing about League of Legends. I don't play the games. I don't follow the esports. But Arcane is so good. It's so worth your time. If you have a Netflix, please, I implore you, watch it. The easiest way I can summarize Arcane is like, imagine you take, they're just characters, playable characters in League, but just throw them into their own individual story. And it's just so good, dude. It's just like really good storytelling, so compelling. Literally every episode I watched, I was like edge of your seat, like, oh my god, what's gonna happen next? I need to know what happens next, kind of levels of intrigue, and just so good.
Yeah, and it's amazing that they're doing this as well, because it's kind of like they're kind of like promoting League of Legends, the game, more by providing us a TV show with it as well.
I don't know if it's like game promotion necessarily, because the show has nothing to do with the actual game itself. It's just characters in the game and then the world, and they just throw it to in its like own kind of, just Arcane is its own thing basically. Even though it's part of League, it's not necessarily League itself. At least from what I've heard and what I've like seen so far. But I feel like Netflix has finally made a comeback from like all these really like crappy live action shows. Not because they're live action. Must make that clear. It's just that for some reason in like 2019 and during the time of the pandemic, they just had this influx of really, really bad shows. But then now they're absolutely popping off. They have Dota, they have Castlevania, Castlevania is super good. Y'all should watch it. And then they also came out with Arcane, which is their latest like video game adaptation, right? All of these are really good, but then I hear that Dota didn't get too much of a, good response because people thought it was bad. Personally, I didn't see what was so bad about it, but that's probably just me.
Yeah, but at the same time, I feel like Netflix is coming out with some really great shows, but they're also canceling a lot of good shows.
They are.
Like, you guys know Tall Girl, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not
The
best to put it in the lightest way.
It's good because it's so bad that it's funny.
It's a
So-
hate watch.
Yeah, but Netflix came out with the Tall Girl too, and honestly, this just frustrates me because there's this show that I really used to like on Netflix, Amazing Music. It's called Julie and the Phantoms, if you guys have heard of it. The music is mind-blowing, and they canceled that amazing show, and then they made these things. So it's like, yeah, Netflix is coming out with a couple of good things, but at the same time, I wonder if those are like produced by Netflix, or Netflix has just bought the rights to
does
those
have a
things.
tendency to push their own titles more than actual shows.
Yeah. And Julie and the
honestly,
Phantoms was a Netflix original. That's also something you need to consider.
Okay, that's obviously, it's just the marketing. It's obviously part of their business. It makes total sense as to why they put their own shows before, other shows. It just makes sense. But at the same time, there's just certain shows where you just can't brand it as a Netflix original. Like, what is it? There's this one anime I'm trying to remember.
Seven Deadly Sins?
Seven Deadly Sins. Oh yeah, they for some reason, I think I could also be wrong, that they had an anime original on the title. I'm like, first of all, this ain't anime original, my friends. Other anime streaming sites has been airing for quite a while now. A show is pretty well established, but then they just slap on the title Netflix anime original.
No, it's because Netflix has the rights to stream it in the US. That's why
Yeah,
they
but
have
then-
some of those Netflix originals, even though they're not actually produced by Netflix, which is what I was saying. Some of these shows aren't actually produced by Netflix, but they do have that Netflix original title for that reason. It's a common misconception that people will have, though.
But also, one thing that really annoys me about this whole situation is like they call it Netflix original anime. And it's like there are some shows where you just simply can't classify it as anime. I don't know. There's something I feel like personally, in my mind, that something separates animated shows from anime. There's just that factor. There's like this niche factor in anime, niche if you will, that just kind of makes it completely, separate from what you see in like Western cartoons or like, that kind of stuff.
I feel like this also reminds me, some people even say that Avatar: The Last Airbender is like anime.
Oh, no, it's not.
It's not anime, but
It's Similar
peach.
style.
I don't know. Like I feel like I can see kind of like the vibe that they're getting at
It's
a little bit,
feel
but
like
I would never like classify it as anime.
I don't think the
No.
vibe is anime-y. It's more like the art style is kind of
Animation is anime inspired, but the show itself isn't anime.
yeah.
It's that simple.
But it's a good show nonetheless. So
But there are also anime that can easily pass off as regular cartoons. Like what is the one Studio Trigger show called Panty and Stocking? The dub was so good that people didn't even know that it was an anime at first. Like even Pokemon. Pokemon is the most classic example of this. Digimon, Yu-Gi-Oh! The dubs were so iconic that people just thought they were regular like TV shows, just a bit weirder. That's all.
I can vouch for the fact that I did not know Yu-Gi-Oh was an anime until I was in middle school.
I did not know
In
Pokemon
my defense,
either,
I was
or
11 when I
Digimon.
realized. Okay.
I didn't even know Pokemon had a Japanese version until I was like 12.
Same.
The first time I heard Ash's Japanese voice, I'm like, whoa,
Doramon.
what is this?
I never knew that was an anime
Any Indian
until
kids who grew up
recently.
with Doraemon.
Doraemon and Ninja Hattori.
Oh my god, yes.
Yes.
A Ninja Hattori was big. Okay, every single time I'd go to my grandma's place, especially in Chennai, first thing I do, pop on the TV. What do I see? It's my good old pal Ninja Hattori with the little red one. I, for the longest time, did not know that was Japanese. I just thought, oh, it's just a kid dressed up as like a blue ninja.
Another fun fact about me, I thought Doraemon was an Indian show.
Yes!
Yeah.
And I did not realize until somebody told me, oh, Doraemon was Japanese. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
My worldview was shattered in elementary school.
It's like when you're a kid, you don't realize how blatantly Japanese the names are. You just think that because you're so used to like, okay, I watched a Doraemon in like the English, like the English version, but with heavy Indian accents, and then like this other one in like the Telugu dub.
Oh, I just
You know what I
watched
mean,
in
right?
Hindi.
Yeah,
I just watched the Telugu dub, like, oh, this is perfectly normal, and I hear the Japanese version, I'm like, what is this? This is alien to me.
I watched it in Hindi and I completely didn't know what they were talking about, but like I just followed along.
Oh, that reminds me.
I might know though, because Urdu is similar as Hindi.
Okay, this one reminds me of this one show called. Y'all know Takeshi's Castle? No? Am I the only one? Okay, think of Wipeout, but on steroids. That's what Takeshi's Castle is. You don't know what
What's
that is?
Wipeout?
What's Wipeout?
You don't know what Wipeout?
You know what Wipeout is.
You know what Wipeout is?
I know what Wipeout
Yes,
is.
please.
Wipeout is just like this, it's like this obstacle course game.
Yeah, and you have to try and not fall into the water.
You know what it is? You don't say anything.
Oh, it's like hole in the wall or something.
Yeah, hole in the wall, like a hole in the wall, but more complicated
I see.
with extra stuff in it.
So Takeshi's Castle is basically that, but on steroids in Japanese.
Yeah, but there's all these amazing shows, and we've been talking about them. But then there's also this other genre, which is reality TV. And there's so much scripted drama in that, and it frustrates me.
There was like I was watching one reality TV episode, and I'm like, I'm gonna get a headache.
That's what, okay, the lovely thing about reality TV show is that I feel like it does teach you something, but in probably the most out-of-pocket, twisted way possible.
Exactly.
Like, you know, 90 Day Fiancé, right? We all know how much of a dumpster fire that show is. This is the premise of the show. They take one really lonely, desperate, needy American or whatever, and then they have like this foreigner who's, you know, sometimes, you know, with dubious intentions, and they're like, okay, let's get these two individuals to marry each other. Not because they love each other, no. It's because they bring in the drama. Lots and lots of drama. There is one couple that I think the internet has just completely capitalized off of. You know who I'm talking about.
I immediately, yeah, Big Ed.
And
Of course, an icon of our time. I feel like the one thing I took away from the entirety of the relationship, I learned something very real. It's the art of truthfulness and good communication.
yeah, and also the thing is, you have to remember that you're only seeing what the camera and what the editors want you to
Yeah.
see. So the actors may be saying something, but at the end of the day, you have to remember they're actors. Even if they're not professional actors, they've been brought on there. They're getting they're being told what to do at times to create more drama. That's how they're profiting.
I know. But okay, there's also this one other really insane couple. I think this is another one of those like disaster. This is a recipe for disaster, basically. So they had like this one gold digger-esque Russian girl or whatever, and then they had this. There's one desperate American guy who had like who ran like a small weed business. Okay, already.
What a fantastic premise.
I know. So what happened was this Russian. Okay, the loveliest part about this relationship is that the Russian girl was so upfront about what she wanted. The reason, you know what the reason when she got married to this guy? Because he got money. All she wanted was just money. All the rich things. She wanted the fancy designer bags, the fancy designer clothes, really, really expensive jewelry, and she was not shy about it.
Was this also 90 Day Fiancé?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
This reminds me of another show called Say Yes to the Dress.
Oh, I've heard of
I
that.
love the collective groans in this room. It's a guilty pleasure for me to watch because it's my favorite guilty pleasure show because it's just the main formula of the bride who's happy to be here, her snake friends, her mother who's clearly projecting onto her wedding day, and the poor wedding planner who has to deal with this by herself or himself.
I mean, that's the lovely part of reality TV show. You don't watch it to learn something. You watch it because it's just like the junk food of entertainment. It's so
Exactly.
bad, but it's so good. You just can't stop, but you just keep coming back to it. I mean, that's how I think people got really invested into the whole mess that was 90 Day Fiancé, especially during quarantine, because, you know, there was not much else. Netflix was producing average shows. Lots of movies, I think, got canceled at the time or something.
Postponed.
Postponed, and then all that was left was good old TLC and the good old 90 Day Fiancé.
Or if you were like my family, you just watch Money Heist during the entirety of quarantine.
This is also like an example of a show that got postponed. Not a show, but a movie. The trailer said it was going to come out February, but now it's going to come out at like April or May. It's called The Black Phone. I really want to. I've seen the trailer. I feel like all the movie trailers give everything away, but I've seen the trailer, and yeah, and I'm really interested to watch it, and that's just on my list besides Arcane and All of Us Are Dead.
Oh, wait, tell me more about All of Us Are Dead.
It's based on the webtoon.
Yeah, it's based on a
yeah,
webtoon.
webtoon.
Go read webtoons, guys.
Actually, wait, who's the author?
Oh, I don't even know the author, but I can Sadia can search it up. Yeah. So okay, Sadia.
The webtoon, right?
Yeah, the webtoon. All of Us.
Go
Are Dead.
read webtoons, guys. This is not. We're not sponsored.
Based on you guys.
Same,
If you guys
yes.
want us to, we can make an entire episode on webtoons.
Please
Will
request.
regardless.
We will, whether you
Yeah.
like it or not.
Please request it, but yeah, we will for sure.
Yeah, it's a live action.
Oh, it's like okay. It's kind of like y'all know Sweet Home, right? The webtoon and
That
the
was
live
good.
action.
That was good.
I will say this. I think did we touch upon this in any other episode? Like about the difference between trying to animate something and when you're animating, you're adapting say for example the source material is a comic or whatever, the difference between the live action adaptation, like the animated adaptation.
Yeah, and the thing is, I feel like you're right, and some things can be done really well in live action. Like Marvel is a great example. They've blown stuff out of the park.
Like million dollar budgets to do it.
Yeah, that's true, but the point is, it can be done. We know for a fact it can be done. Guaranteed, you need a huge budget for it.
Yeah, I feel like with the live action, you can appreciate the cinematography a lot.
Yeah.
Especially with the superhero movies. I really love the cinematography with those movies. And my favorite combination is basically almost like 3D like animated movies. They have more dimension. So it's like a combination between it looks live action, but it's actually animation.
Oh yeah. And that's the whole premise behind that's the whole animation thing behind Into the SpiderVerse, for example.
Oh.
Because
I love that animation.
So good, dude. It's like every animator's like dream to work on a project like that.
Dude, Into the SpiderVerse was amazing. First time I went inside the theater, I'm like, holy heck, this is amazing.
Same.
I actually, at first, I thought everything was 2D, but then if you look a little bit closer, some of the movements are a bit too smooth to make it to be 2D. So I learned apparently that I watched like an insider video on this too, that the idea behind the concept behind the animation for Into the Spider-Verse was to make 3D look like 2D as a way to pay homage to the whole comics kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
Because if you were to take a screenshot of any single frame in the movie, it'll look like a standalone illustration.
Mm-hmm.
That's how good it is.
Yeah, and like just talking about great animation, have you guys seen Encanto?
No.
Oh yeah. I have something to say about that. It's like really hyped up, as I've seen in like YouTube shorts, I would say, because I don't have TikTok. But I feel like it's kind of like the new Frozen, like the way that it's now popular.
Mhm.
That's what I feel.
I definitely agree with that, but the colors and the animation,
Bro, I feel like Disney has
songs,
finally
god
come back
tier.
with really good movies.
Honestly,
I mean, I actually haven't seen Encanto, but I've seen the trailer and it looks really nice.
The songs though.
exactly.
The songs are really good. They do get stuck in your head a lot.
Yeah.
Guys, we don't talk about Bruno.
Someone please explain to me why is everybody so attached to this guy? Someone please explain to me.
Like the character?
The character too, yeah. There's an entire slew of people on Twitter and even on Tumblr that simp for this guy, and I do not know
I
why.
don't know how to explain. Like, he's a nice character, and I can see why, but I don't know how to explain to
You got
dive
one slurred,
through.
my guy.
You have to really
got
watch the
one
movie
slurred,
to
my dude.
understand.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Got Tumblr-fied, I don't know.
You just watch the movie, you'll
I
understand.
feel like the same way that people felt about Sojin from True Beauty, Cat Noir from Miraculous Ladybug. Now it's Felix, but
Oh. I actually haven't watched the recent
Yeah.
episodes because I'm waiting for the final to come out in English.
Wait,
Yeah.
let's go. Okay, I thought I was the only one.
No,
The thing about Miraculous Ladybug, dude. Okay, I know so many people watch the show, but we just don't say it out loud. I think this is just a rule in the fandom. I'm just saying.
yeah, I just have a bone to pick with the show.
Yeah,
All right,
it's too
now
repetitive.
is the time.
Yeah.
Now is the time.
Okay, let's go.
Let it all out.
It's too repetitive. Every episode is the same. Like they take the same template and
Wait.
just add stuff.
Oh, wait.
It's like the reality TV shows of animated TV shows. It's like the junk food of animated TV shows.
It
It's
is.
like it is in fact a bona fide guilty pleasure. The writing, okay. The thing about the show is that it has such an interesting concept with the power system. The way that it's executed is just so convoluted to the point where you don't know. You just have no idea what's going on.
Exactly.
Yeah, and another thing, like, Rita and I were actually talking about this during adulting. We're talking about how, like shows can be, like, episodic, like Miraculous Ladybug, or, like, an overarching storyline. And I think with, like, episodic shows, it can definitely be, as you said, convoluting, because, like, each episode's its own, like, I guess,
Mini plot.
mini plot, like mini arc, and in that, like, it can kind of like derail a character's like development, and kind of not make it work or not like develop fluidly. I don't know.
What I am hearing from this, I don't know much about Miraculous Ladybug, so you can prove me if I'm wrong, but I'm starting to think the studio still doesn't realize that their audience is much older than intended.
Yeah, see, that's the
Absolutely,
problem.
I think, sorry.
Yeah.
The worst part about that whole thing is that the creator of the show, for some reason, I think just refuses to acknowledge the fact that most of his audience are, in fact, as you said, older people.
Yeah, it's like mainly, I get that originally the show was aimed to be for a younger audience, and it made sense. Okay, one season they've planned out that way. But when you started to see that people want, like, an older audience is watching it, they're enjoying it. I feel like this season, it started off actually pretty well with, like,
right.
there was actual plot going on, being carried out. And then it just went all to hell because the later episodes just didn't have any plot, and it was so annoying. And I'm like, you finally had something actually interesting going on.
Bro, apparently I watched the first half of the season finale, and my god, it was gripping for a Miraculous Ladybug episode, which is not saying a lot, but because it's Miraculous Ladybug, the writing in the show is known to be notoriously bad. It's so inconsistent.
It's just so inconsistent. Like we got those little power sandwiches, potions thingies,
but
and
they
then
just
you
touch
never
it again.
use them. And then the thing is, she's just now that spoilers, guys. Now that Ladybug's guardian, she's just handing out miraculouses left and right.
Like candy.
Yeah, and
What
it's
is
like
this?
I understand there'll be some cases when you need that, but I feel like there's so many times where they're just relying on these extra powers now.
I know, right? Okay, the worst part is in season 3, we had an entire episode where she just put on every single one of them, save for her own. She even had the Black Cat Miraculous at one point, and she's like, oh, I'm super mentally capable of handling all of the powers of literal gods. And then for now, she's like giving them out left and right as if she were giving out candy to kids. What is this?
Yeah, and the thing is, she can handle them by herself.
So do it yourself. Do it yourself if you need to. Don't get in other help if you don't need it. It's that simple. They're only doing it just to introduce new characters. That's all. I mean, that's the whole debacle that happened with, what is it, Chloe? The worst, just one major thing that I absolutely hate is the fact that the creator of the show, for some reason, just has this just hate, like, thing against Chloe, who is unquestionably is one of the most iconic characters in the show.
Yeah, I think she really made the show like super entertaining. The way that she's like, she reminds me of Raquel from Barbie Life in the Dream House.
Yeah.
Like she's like, both of them are like frenemies.
Yeah.
You know, I love frenemies rather than pure villains because I feel like frenemies. I like it when characters have the potential of being like good,
Exactly.
but they're also like bad, and it's like it's fun though to see that.
It's also the fact that Chloe was starting to show some character development. And the problem with this show is it doesn't let its characters develop. Like, honestly, I could say that 90% of its cast has pretty much remained the same since day one of this, the airing.
I keep saying the worst part. Okay, anyways, the thing about season 4 is that we were promised character development, but then the very first episode, Marina and Luca, they get together, and by the end of the episode, they're no longer a thing. Why?
Okay, no, that made sense. No, that part makes sense because no, you have to understand his reasons. That made sense. That character development was fine, but my problem is that they're not making her at all. Okay, you understandably you have a crush on someone, but that's her whole character. It's just her whole character revolves around
this guy,
Adrian.
I know what I don't know if this is a hot take or a lot of people disagree with this. I'd much rather have Adrian as the main character of the series. The literal plot revolves around his entire family. So for some reason they said in the intro, like, oh, I'm just an ordinary girl living an ordinary life. And why are you the main character if you're so ordinary? Give it to the dude who has the most drama going on in his life so we can actually see some story plot progression of some way, shape, or form. Please.
He has an interesting, he has potential.
The entirety of the plot revolves around his family drama. This is not even spoilers at this point. His dad is the villain of the show. His mom is in the basement comatose. His cousin is like this really insanely good mastermind, and his aunt for some reason has some sort of connection to like one of the more important plot points in the story, but yet for some reason he's not the main character. This is not a spoiler, it's just a known fact.
Wait, his mom is alive?
Yeah, she's
No,
like
she's in a coffin in their basement, bro.
What?
she's like in a coma.
I feel like the person that needs the most therapy in the show is Gabriel Agrest. He's literally like, he's doing all of this. Like, think about it. He's doing all of this, becoming Hawkmoth or Shadowmouth, whatever, for his wife. He doesn't. It's like the cycle of guilt. He doesn't accept the fact. There's like no acceptance to like, oh, okay, your wife is dead. He doesn't accept the fact that she's dead.
Like, bro.
No, I can fix her. It's like every girl on Tumblr seeing the bad boy. I can fix them. Except this is a dead wife we're talking about. You know what? You're right. Someone get this man a therapist, please.
Plus, he can afford it. He's rich.
Yeah, he can
like,
afford it. He's filthy rich.
Yeah, please, sir, just go to therapy.
Just go to
Please.
therapy. It'll be fine. It'll be perfectly fine. Oh my god. You know, at this point, I feel bad for Hawkmoth, but at the same time, I don't, because he's a terrible, terrible person when it comes to parenting. I think this is also a very known fact to anyone who watches the show. You know?
Talking about terrible parenting, the guy from Squid Games, like, though he's a hero, he's like a horrible parent, and that makes me so angry. So, like,
I mean, wasn't the whole reason why he wanted to participate in the Squid Games just to get money for himself or something?
for his mom, right? For his mom's.
What about his daughter? What happened to the daughter?
I don't know. He just.
I feel like, yeah, just to be a better dad, be a better. He's like an ex-husband.
That's not the way to go, bro.
Yeah, we did see it like a bit in end, but
yeah.
again, he just like went back to the whole thing. I get it, but I also wish he could have just
Stayed with his daughter, right?
yeah, and like just focus on being a better father, because like this whole thing is also kind of bigger than himself, even though he was like the only surviving person. Like
How is he expecting to defeat a whole system?
This is literally like life over, like this is money over life. You don't even, like the people who wanted to stay in Squid Game, like they didn't even care if they died. Like they had the option to like go back to their homes, but they still went back to the Squid Game because they were suffering so much like without money. Can you like imagine people suffering so much without money? Just imagine what's going on in the world right now for people who don't have money.
I think that's why people love the show so much. The premise itself is like, imagine putting a group of just, you know, generally terrible people all in the same room together and telling them to like duke it out to the death to see who can get, you know, money, for example. It's like it's a culling game, basically. That's all it is. You're reducing the terrible people by doing more terrible things. And it's just, at this point, it's like, okay, who out of these terrible characters, who can we actually relate to the most? You know? That's why people loved.
Ali wasn't terrible.
Except for Ali. Ali was. He deserved better.
I'm so angry that they didn't show his wife after everything.
No, dude.
It was like,
that would. Already people were dying from the impact that Ali had.
Exactly.
If they showed his wife, it would be a KO. It would be over.
But it was kind of like, okay, so he helped his friend's family and he helped himself, but he didn't help Ali, who literally saved him. Like,
that's what I'm saying. It's a race. If you're putting in a room full of just terrible people against more terrible people, that's what this entire show is about. And out of those terrible people, who can you relate to the most? Who do you want to see go and who do you want to see stay? That's the appeal of Squid Games. Or I think. I don't know, there's probably more to it. It's also a general critique on the way that society conducts itself when it comes to riches, societal position standing, and all of that stuff.
When the game maker guy, who I will not reveal, said like he did it because his life is so sad because he's bored or whatever, like, can you compare this to like... It like annoyed me.
Cause he got bored.
Yeah, it was like he was sad.
You know what? I kind of dig that. I for some reason can get behind that.
Really?
What happens when you get really bored? You want to see the world burn? Just put you let people duke it out to the death and get them like all of the money. Just give them the worth of every other person that died in the game.
He literally was saying though, like how his life is way worse because he has everything, so he finds no enjoyment in life, and I thought that was messed up, so I don't know.
I mean, well, we can't really comment on that kind of stuff, right? But I can kind of see where he's coming from, because he has everything. He has nothing to strive for, nothing that he wants to achieve, nothing that he wants to. He's never, okay, based on what I got off from that scene, I felt like he's someone who never really struggled, never understood the feeling of struggle, and kind of the enjoyment of being able to come out of that struggle, right?
Yeah.
So that's why he was like, okay, why don't I see what it's like to actually struggle? The most messed up and probably the most privileged thing anyone can say, but at the same time, it kind of makes sense.
You're talking about the old man?
Are we though? Are we though?
Are we though?
Definitely not. No.
No.
No, it's someone else. Trust me, it's someone else.
We're
no,
not
listen to what she said. It's someone else.
It's
We're-
a big plot twist though. The other guy.
Oh yeah,
You'll never
you'll
know.
never see it coming.
We're not
You'll never see
confirming
it
or
coming.
denying it.
Yeah.
So we're not saying
We're
anything.
simply messengers. We state the facts. That's it.
Okay, so I also want to talk about like, do you guys think that movies are better than books, or are books better than movies?
It depends on depends on the story or like or what is being like shown, I guess. Because like okay, when it comes to like movie adaptations, obviously it's not going to go by the book because sometimes there might be like
Yeah.
some cases where they can't really execute like certain scenes or like want to like or
Sometimes they change like the most needed things that did not need to be changed.
oh gosh. By the way, Percy Jackson, the movies trash, the books amazing. Also, cannot wait for the series that's going to be coming out. Yeah, because Rick Riordan's going to be like, you know, he has a lot, like a huge part in it. So we know we can rely on Rick Riordan. That's all I can say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I personally think that Hunger Games, both the books and the movies, were great. I feel like the movies were better though. Actually, for Hunger Games, I like the movies better.
I think that's because the movies just got more traction. That's all.
Yeah.
And the actors are really good too.
Wait. Can we talk about how completely useless Peeta is throughout this like whole series? Like he only like dragged her down. There was never a moment where he actually helped her. And I was so sad. Because he was my favorite character too. And I was like, are you ever gonna do something? Like ever? And he didn't.
I didn't notice that actually. I was always like Team Peeta.
I mean, he just like existed. Yeah.
For like no reason other than to be the love interest and to drag her down.
Story of my life, Adrian. That's literally, I'm telling you, the story. The writers are just like, oh, he's just the love interest for Marinette and nothing else. You cannot convince me otherwise, or else they would have actually given him plot relevance. Okay.
I mean, like that's weird because like Adrian, his dad's the villain.
His dad is the villain. His dad wants to revive his comatose mom, and his aunt has some sort of weird connection to this really cryptic thing called the Gram de Vanilli rings. You know, the twin rings, right? There's this whole lore behind
It's
them.
been so long. I'm sorry. I don't
And
know
then
what's happening.
His cousin is also really connected to him in some way, shape, or form. We don't know how, and we want to know how, but we're not getting the how. Why? Come give us something interesting for once.
This is why there's fan fiction.
Yeah. It's come to a point where I feel like I think we're just deterring people from watching the show. But if you want to watch it, go ahead. You just don't expect too much. Just watch it as like a guilty pleasure, as if you're eating like your favorite bag of Cheetos. You want to stop, but you just can't. That's how it is.
Or just
We're literally eating food right now, so if you guys hear like us eating, bear with us.
My bad, y'all.
or just read like really good fan fiction because like there's really good Miraculous Ladybug fan fiction out there. Just go like fanfiction.net or like AO3. I don't know.
Like
It's out there.
Like the escape, like you wanna things that you want canon, basically.
Yep.
I feel like because the fan fiction in the Miraculous fandom is pretty good. I feel like some of the writers should have just read a fan fiction like, let's make that an episode. The entirety of Chronicle, one of the episodes in season 4, was literally something straight out of a fanfic, and you cannot convince me otherwise. Irresponsible. If you have access to one of the most powerful gems or like beings in the world or the universe for that matter, why the hell would you just leave it on top of a roof? And Ladybug sees the ring and she's like, oh my god, no, Cat Noir, no, come back to me. And I'm like, wait, you just told him off a minute ago. Like, I hate how then stop being super annoying. She just literally yells at him, like, stop being super annoying. And then she's like, oh my god, I want you back. Like, make up your mind. What do you want from him?
And this literally reminds me of like this episode where Luca found, okay, this is a spoiler, but Luca found out the identities of Cat
I'm so
Noir
happy he
and
did.
He
So
did.
happy he did.
Ladybug.
He did. Thankfully, one person.
Yeah.
One sane person in the show who finds out something very important.
We love Luca in
was
this
it
household.
Glaciator too? Actually, no, never mind. Well, it wasn't. Sorry. So, what happened was like, You know the ice cream man? He was like
I saw him transforming and jumping into the water.
strawberry and peanut for the indecisive lady, pistachio and pecan for the clear-sighted young man. and then she was like, "Oh, who? What young man?" And then Luca was like, "Hello, Marinette."
Dude, I gotta say his voice is so smooth, but that's not the only thing that's smooth, dude. This guy is the ultimate bro. I'm just gonna say it right now. I could get flack for this later, but I'm just saying as of now, hopefully this doesn't age like milk. He is like, I think, the best person in the show to discover both of their identities in one fell swoop. I think he's the only one that I can actually trust in the show. Out of my favorite characters in the show, it's gonna be Plag, Sass, Luca. I think I'm trying to remember someone else. What is it? And Felix, yeah. The only 4 characters in the show that I actively trust, despite one of them breaking into his like uncle's basement, lying his way to get to his uncle's basement just to see his comatose aunt.
I have a lot of questions about that.
Watch the episode Gabriel aggressed. Trust me, you'll leave with even more questions.
Oh, keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Another thing that I want to talk about before we like wrap this up and read the Dropbox messages, because we only have 10 minutes left. I'm trying to follow up with these Disney live action remakes from the Disney animated movies to like live action. I liked Aladdin though. I really liked Aladdin because Jasmine got a song. Yeah, but like I like Maleficent, but Cruella, I like the movie, but I think they gotta stop this trope of like backstories and making villains like sympathizing with the villains, like just changing their whole like
Exactly.
story.
Why can't they just be bad for once? Because they're bad. I don't know.
Maleficent, canonically, and when I say canonically, I mean from the Grimm's, but like the actual original fairy tale, she's not even human.
Yeah.
She's a fairy. A fae, to be more precise, and they're considered spirits, and obviously as spirits they'll have no human attachment whatsoever, and she's considered to be more of like a more devious kind of fae. So the whole premise of that story is that out of the 12 fairies that came to Aurora's birthday party, they didn't invite the 13th because the 13th was considered bad, and because she didn't get invited, she got really mad and she cursed her with death. That's petty. Very petty. But hey, they don't see emotion the same way as humans do, man. Yeah, you can't just what did they do in Maleficent? I haven't watched the movie, so someone please explain to me.
The movie was good though, right?
I feel like she kind of changed the curse. Like she said death, but then she changed it to 100 years of sleep.
Wasn't it originally 100 Years of Sleep?
No, it was originally death.
Oh.
I mean, in the Disney version, not in the...
Of course, it's Disney. It's gonna be 100 years of sleep, not instant death. In the original fairy tale, the only reason why they changed to 100 years of sleep is because the other 12 fairies were like, no, take pity on the poor girl. It's not her fault or whatever. And then she's like, fine, whatever. You guys figure it out. I'm out of here.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Just one more thing that I need to say. She's kind of like in this live action movie. She's kind of like a mom to Aurora. I liked it though, but yeah, I'm still in the side where like I think villains should just stay as villains. But it was a nice movie.
In like select cases, no, but like
Usually, yeah, just keep them bad.
If they're not human villains, then just
don't.
yeah.
All right, so I think we should just wrap it up right here. What do you guys think? Good?
Yeah,
Yeah.
good.
All right. Yeah, so thank you guys for listening to our whole podcast episode about TV shows and movies. And yeah, so if you guys want to say anything to us, you can email the club, give us a voice message on Anchor, fill out the Dropbox Google form, or you can go to the physical Dropbox, which is located outside of L125, and drop us a message in there. And when we read them, they're going to be featured on our podcast. So let's see what the Dropbox messages are, and let's read them.
All right, our first message. Pog, bro. Thanks. Okay, I'll take that.
All right. The next one says music is a great way to vent. And yeah, I agree. It definitely is.
Our next message. Your mom.
Does your mom listen to this podcast?
Does your mom listen to this podcast?
It's just like your mom, and then that's it. It's a sentence fragment.
Okay. Anyways, I love this school.
Cool.
All right. At least you're more positive than the other messages, unless this is a troll. I can't tell. But good on you, I guess. Do I even dare to read this out loud?
No.
No.
No? Okay, we pass. Let them have that intrigue, okay? And again.
Yeah,
Another
no
one.
twice.
All right.
Never mind.
Sure. Don't know who this is. Not saying it. Is against procrastination. Everyone should be, but let's be real. We all procrastinate, and this we know for a fact. But pro tip: don't be like us. Don't procrastinate, please, or don't be like me and procrastinate till the very end.
Okay, so there's like this one criticism here. It says fix the audio. Yeah, I do feel like whenever, especially when I listen to our podcast episodes, some of them are pretty like fried or distorted. And I try my best to like fix it. I think I got the hang of it. But yeah, I think you just have to bear with us. So sorry about that. I'll see what I can do. Thank you.
We appreciate the criticism. If you have any more feedback, please do put it in the Dropbox. But I think we have any more messages?
What's this one?
Okay, so this one is not even related to us, but it's just talking about what's in the student news about like fit check. This person says fit check part 5. Yeah, don't worry whoever wrote that message. You will see fit check in the student news, but we're not responsible for that. This is something separate.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's all. All right, so that is basically it. Follow us on our Instagram for updates, which is at MHHS Mustang Studios. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is also called Mustang Studios, and add our podcast to your Spotify playlist. It's all linked in Anchor. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much.